The Scuba Diver Magazine podcast is sponsored by Scubapro, who are celebrating their 60th year of being an iconic scuba brand, and Scubapro has a few offers that I'm going to break down later on in this podcast. Hi, all of you wonderful scuba divers out there. Welcome to the Scuba Diver Magazine podcast. This week, a few little stories there. I couldn't see any particularly big stories this week. We can't have big, exciting things happening every single week. But yeah, lots of little stories. A new shipwreck has been discovered in Lake Superior. It's pretty deep down. It's down at about 90 meters. So it's only for like pretty serious tech diving. But there are some awesome images coming up from it. One of the best that I've seen is really just the side scan radar of it, which I think is pretty cool. There's a new scuba specific point of sale software available now. This is only probably going to get great interest into industry professionals if you own a dive center, but it may make interacting with your dive center easier in the future. So if you find them always with like quizzical looks at the till, then yeah, maybe mention, hey, there's a new point of sale software, and it integrates with PADI, SSI, and a few training agencies and stuff. Yeah, it might be of interest to them. There's a new Netflix documentary on freediving called The Deepest Breath. It's all about a freediver who's training to break a world record with the help of an expert safety diver. The film follows the paths that they took to meet at the pinnacle of the freediving world, documenting the rewards and risks of chasing a dream through the ocean depths. I've only managed to watch the first 5 minutes because just busy, but yeah, looks quite interesting. It uses like a mixture of real world footage and like staged reenactments. But yeah, every time I see like a free diving documentary or something, you're like, oh, who died? Just because there's so many risks involved with it. But yeah, the first news story. So this is a new piece of software called Dive Shop 360, and it's been out for a little while now. It's actually the leading dive shop management system and an all-in-one cloud-based point-of-sale platform created exclusively for dive shops. Usually it has to, you just use some kind of point of sale software and you just kind of manage it as a dive center. You kind of make do with what you got, but there are some scuba specific things that you kind of have to think, how am I going to do this and be able to sell it and then like upload it to a website and do all this kind of stuff? It's quite hard because yeah, when it's like selling a BCD or said regulators or something, yeah, it's just a tangible item. You can have stock of it, but when it's something else, I can't think of any exact examples spring to mind at the moment. But sometimes, yeah, it gets really tricky, and you're like, okay, fine. But actually, Dive Shop 360 has announced an integration with PADI. So this strategic collaboration enables dive shops to easily and efficiently manage PADI diving certifications and courses directly through the Dive Shop 360 POS point of sale platform. So it has everything from equipment sales. There's a separate section for training. There's another section for renting equipment, which is a godsend. Trying to keep track of rented equipment is really quite tough. Whether you're booking holidays on there and whether you're booking like boat charters as a dive center, it has like all of these things like already built in. It was obviously designed by someone who knows what they're doing in a dive center. And Kristen Vallette, with Chief Brand and Membership Officer for PADI Worldwide, said this exciting integration between PADI and Dive Shop 360 is tailor-made for PADI dive shops who seek to streamline their business by integrating PADI services into a modern point of sale management platform. So yes, it is interesting, and it's probably only going to be interesting because I'm like from that side of the scuba industry. But yeah, it's quite hard trying to find some like point of sale software and hardware, of course, that's works effectively for a scuba dive center. So it's quite nice to see one that's specifically designed for scuba diving. So yeah, if you ever overhear someone like grumbling at the dive center about trying to sell something, and you're like, what can I to like sell this as, or whatever, then just say, oh hey, there's a new scuba diving specific point of sale out there. It might be worth getting in contact with Dive Shop 360. And I think they can build a website for you and do all sorts of clever stuff. And it really does make your life easier as like a dive shop owner, and all of the dive shop staff a lot easier. And then the customer gets a better experience as well. So yeah, just check it out if it's of interest. And now, yeah, I think it's already worked with SSI for a while. Now they've integrated PADI, so yeah, it's just a bit more streamlined. In other news, Ghost Diving, Healthy Seas, and SDSS joined forces in June for an 8-day expedition task with removing ghost nets and discarded fishing gear from World War II shipwrecks laying between Italy's Lampedusa Island and Tunisia. So volunteer divers from 5 countries took part in the expedition, which represents the 3rd year of partnership from the trio of organisations with the support of Hyundai Motors Europe. Or is it Hyundai? I always forget now. I think they keep changing the pronunciation. Pascal van Erp of Healthy Seas, the deputy director and ghost diving founder, said that wrecks provide excellent habitats for marine life, acting as a reef and providing shelter. At the same time, it is on wrecks that fishing nets get most often snagged. It is estimated that 640,000 tons of fishing gear are lost or abandoned annually in the world's seas and oceans, leading to the suffering and death of millions of marine animals. The team were focused on one particular shipwreck that has yet to be identified. It was a ship that was sunk during the Battle of Convoys and still containing several aerial bombs and vehicles, so it's quite a dangerous shipwreck to be about, but recovering a huge net weighing approximately 700 kilograms, the divers unveiled its structure, making it a safer space for marine life, but also more accessible for other divers. After examining the material and the structure of the net, it is believed that it originated in Egypt. It will be upcycled into new fishing nets. The mission also aimed at documenting various shipwrecks as cultural monuments by collecting over 12,000 photos and applying photogrammetric, that's cool, techniques. 3D virtual models are created to make the wrecks accessible to scientists and the wider public. SDSS founder Mario Arena said, since 2007, when our team began exploring the wrecks at this location, we're continuously running into fishing nets. The collaboration with Healthy Seas and Ghost Diving is allowing us to make progress in our historical discoveries. So the team is made up of GUE technical divers from Italy, the Netherlands, Germany, Greece, and Lebanon, with thousands of dives on their resumes. Due to limited space on board, they use rebreathers to reduce the number of cylinders that they had to bring with them and increased the safety during the long, deep dives. And there's lots of cool photos coming out of it. One of the ones that I like is the, after like a fishing competition, they always hang up the biggest fish that they have, and they have their photo taken in front of it. They've kind of done that, but with this big fishing net. They've hung it from a crane, and all the divers are like stood in front of it. And just sort of like showing off what they managed to recover. And yeah, this fishing net is just nuts, and the like logistics to be able to raise this safely. Because as soon as you attach a lift bag onto something, it does the exact opposite of what you're expecting. So yeah, well done to the team, and just keeping things cleaner in our oceans. And sticking with marine debris, the Kraken Rum Company has partnered with Paddy Aware Foundation to open for one day only the world's first cocktail bar that accepts litter as currency. So you don't have a lot of time. This is next week on Saturday, the 29th of July. The first of its kind cocktail bar will reward hard-working beach cleaners participating in a cleanup of Brighton Beach with delicious Kraken rum-based drinks in exchange for bags of rubbish collected. So it's going to be kicking off at 12 o'clock at Fortune of War on Brighton's iconic seafront. The cleaning extravaganza will have special Kraken bin bags, litter pickers, and safety equipment is going to be provided for all. A joint initiative between the Kraken and marine conservation charity partner Paddy Aware Foundation. The 2-hour cleanup will aim to clear every single piece of litter from Brighton Beach. Paddy Aware Foundation will also be taking it one step forwards by going beneath the depths of the sea and quite literally diving for debris. Then, after a brisk afternoon of environmental adventuring in the honour of the Beast, which is the Kraken mascot, a selection of delicious Kraken rum cocktails will be awaiting their return and can be simply redeemed by handing over a full bag of litter. Registrations can be made on the website. I'll put a link to our news article down in the description, and the link to registration is at the bottom of that. So yeah, pretty cool. I've got a couple bottles of Kraken rum downstairs, and yeah, it is nice to see this kind of encouragement. We've seen it with like 2 Minutes, which is like a charity. I've seen quite a few of them nowadays. I think once you notice one, you start to see them everywhere. They're these little A-frame stands at like country parks and things, and they usually include like a litter picker, but also some like collection bags. And it's all about just kind of taking 2 minutes out of your time just to, if you see something, pick it up. Over in Australia, I saw a lot of, what is it? It was like Pick Up 3, where, yeah, you visit the beach, you pick up 3 pieces of litter, you dispose of them responsibly, and it is just to get people in that mentality of, yeah, you know what, if you see something, just pick it up. Obviously, as long as it's safe and clean to do so, but yeah, it just helps to basically clean up our beaches and our oceans. So if you are interested, yeah, I'm going to put a link down in the description below, and yeah, that will go to our news article, and then you can find the link on there. A Lake Superior tugboat called Satellite has been missing since it sank 144 years ago, and it's the latest discovery for the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society, or GLSHS. Oh, there's no easy way of saying that. And the satellite was identified at about 90 meters, and it's a complete timber vessel. Satellite had 4 barges in tow on the 21st of June 1879, and it was a calm sunny day when it suddenly ran into difficulties. It remains unclear whether the tug experienced a mechanical problem or was holed after striking a floating log, but it effectively started taking on water and sank, and all of those on board were rescued. So good news there. In the summer of 2022, last year, the GLSHS team went out from the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum at Whitefish Point in Michigan aboard the research vessel, the David Boyd, in an attempt to find wrecks from the World War I era. With this was a film crew for a Discovery Channel TV series called Expedition Unknown with its presenter Josh Gates, and they were visiting to look into a story about World War I French minesweepers that had gone missing in Lake Superior. The director of marine operations, Daryl Ertl, put the Society's ROV on an unidentified mark, and the team could soon see that it was not a steel minesweeper, but a timber-hulled vessel that was identified as the missing satellite. Video released by the Society shows the ship's timber perfectly preserved in the lake's cold, fresh waters. That's a real blessing for shipwrecks when it's in cold, fresh water, because then things don't corrode as much, and the microbes and whatnot, they don't break down the timber. Unfortunately, there are no known pictures of the tugboat from the time, but there are images of its sister vessel, the Sweepstakes, and according to the Society, the ornate satellite was considered one of the most beautiful vessels on the Great Lakes at the time of her loss. So they managed to basically compare and work out that it is a satellite. And yeah, if you fancy a visit, it's fairly deep down, but yeah, at least we know where it is now. Another news story. So this comes from Florida, where officials are reminding that beachgoers to please fill in their holes at the beach that they've dug after 4 sea turtle hatchlings recently became trapped. It's kind of a sad picture, but all of the baby sea turtles were rescued, and officials basically just wanted to remind people to be just aware. Doesn't look like a particularly deep hole from the picture, but when you actually like look at it, yeah, they were basically they fell into this pitfall basically, and yeah, they're basically saying anyone who's you can by all means dig holes to your heart's content. Boys will be boys. We'll always be digging holes when we're on the beach. However, afterwards, just fill them in, or at least make it so that baby sea turtles can climb their way out. It's hard enough for them to get to the ocean. That they don't need these sneaky traps coming out. So yeah, if you are digging a hole, once you're getting ready to leave, just fill it in. The hole serves no real purpose. So yeah, just fill it in. They say also keep beaches dark after sundown, turn off any lights that are not necessary for human safety, use long wavelength amber LED lights for that must stay lit, and shield lights as well so they're not visible from the beach. Remember to close shades or curtains at night. No flash photos on the beach at night. Don't take flash photos or use bright cell phones or flashlights. This can cause turtles to become disoriented and crawl away from the ocean, putting them at risk. They basically crawl inland, which is a worse place for them. Remember that sea turtles are protected by law. Keep your distance and give sea turtles space if you see one on the beach. Never touch a nesting turtle because it may leave the beach without nesting if disturbed. Clear the way at the end of the day. Beach furniture, boats, toys, and trash left behind on the sand can become obstacles that block crawling sea turtles. Fill in any holes dug in the sand. Holes can trap turtles, and they can also pose a safety risk to humans. Yeah, imagine coming out after a night dive and then you put your foot down like a 1 foot deep hole that you haven't noticed because you're not using your torch. That would suck. So yeah, basically, if you live in an area where there are sea turtles, do your best to fill in any holes that you see. So, as I mentioned at the start, this podcast is sponsored by the scuba diving giant Scubapro, who have been making great scuba diving equipment since 1963. And Scubapro makes everything from masks and snorkels and fins to wetsuits, dry suits, dive computers. They have a beautiful range of regulators as well, and they have a great range of products that scuba divers love because if you take their fins, for example, they still make their jet fins, which are a design from the 1960s, but divers still love them because they simply got it right the first time. The only upgrade that the jet fins have ever had over the years is to add spring heel straps. And Scubapro also makes some of the most cutting-edge fins today, from their Sea-Wing Nova and Supernova fins. So Scubapro covers the entire range of diving equipment, from their heritage equipment to modern technology. And right now, Scubapro has a pair of offers at participating dealers. The first one is a free Octo offer. If you buy a Scubapro S620 Ti or the D420 with either a Mark 19 Evo or the Mark 25 Evo first stage, you're going to get yourself a S270 Octo for free, which is a great way to start building a regulator set and start saving yourself some money. The D420 may look a little bit different to some other second stages, but it breathes beautifully. The S620 is a combination of the best features of other Scubapro second stages in a great all-rounder of a second stage. The free Octo offer also extends to their S600 with a Mark 25 or a Mark 17 Evo first stage, which is one of their most popular regulators.
Again, a very strong all-rounder. That and the G260 or the new G260 Carbon Black tech with either a Mark 25 or a Mark 19 Evo first stage, you'll get yourself a free R105 Octo. Now, I know that was a lot of numbers that I just threw at you, but if you visit your local Scubapro dealer, there's a dealer locator on the Scubapro website where you can find your nearest and they can help you find the right regulator for you. The second offer is a dry suit promotion, which is a great way to save some money again or get a fancier dry suit combination in your budget. If you buy a neoprene Everdry 4 or an Exo dry suit, you can get a free K2 light undersuit set or a K2 medium thickness undersuit for £99, which has a suggested retail price of £298. So you're saving yourself some money. Or if you prefer a trilaminate dry suit, if you buy the Evertech breathable or the definition dry, you will get the K2 extreme undersuit for free, which is a great way to stay warmer in the water. Personally, I tend to wear my dry suit year round here in the UK, so a dry suit is a great investment. Both of these offers are running until the end of July in certain regions and participating dealers, so do ask them first before you turn up demanding for free Scubapro equipment. Otherwise, I did see one cool one, which was, it was a video, I think it was on Instagram, and I want to say it was the Paris Metro. They turned 6 of those turnstiles, you know, the like 3 prongs that you have to push to get in. They turned 6 of those into like mini turbines. So every person that pushes their way through these mini turbines, I think it generated 0.2 watts of energy, which is obviously a very little amount, but when you scale it up to every metro passenger throughout the day, it's generating like megawatts of energy from that just very simple like single rotation of a person pushing past the turnstile. And I just thought that was pretty cool. Doesn't have much to do with scuba diving, but I'm always into like renewable energy and trying to create energy from simple things. So yeah, I just thought it was pretty cool. It kind of looked like it was like a trial, and people could like bypass them if they really wanted to. However, the people that were going through them, it didn't seem that much of an inconvenience. It's just like going through any other turnstile, except now, yeah, you're creating a little bit of extra energy that goes into the net. So yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool and something worth noticing. So hopefully we'll start to see these more and more. So yeah, if you're going through turnstiles in the future and you feel that you have to push them a little bit harder, it might be because you're generating electricity. As far as what I've been working on this week, so far I've mainly been trying to catch up with Ask Mark. I did a whole bunch of them, filmed tons of them, and yeah, I've just been trying to crunch out as many as possible. The scuba diving guide in Tahiti has gone live on Wednesday. Lots of lovely visuals coming out of that. It's a shame it's so far away. And coming up this weekend, we've got analysis and symptoms of decompression sickness, and when you should start asking for help. I think I spoke about that last week, where it is basically an account from Dan and someone who just had these little twinges and just put it down to, or I just kind of like pulled my shoulder on that one, whereas actually it was like subtle signs of decompression sickness, but they kept it to themselves for a few days, and then it wasn't until they couldn't urinate that they were like, maybe I should talk to a doctor. And because they were in a really remote location, it took them a few days to actually get medical care, or at least hyperbaric medical care. Some of the questions that I've been asked in Ask Mark, my twin cylinder weight setup, how I put my lead weights on my twin cylinders, and yeah, because there's lots of different ways, and I think the main part of the question was basically, should I just put it all on my BCD, or should I have some that is ditchable? And I always condone carrying at least some lead on a weight belt or integrated weight system that you can drop if required, because whilst it's all very well and good having a perfectly neutrally buoyant system, if something goes wrong, then yeah, I like the idea of being able to drop a bit of lead. It doesn't have to be all of it, but just a little bit at least to really maintain positive buoyancy without having to use my my inflator or my dry suit. Also, someone was asking about neoprene alternatives like shark skin and lava core, whether they can replace a wetsuit, which they kind of can. They're a fabric alternative to neoprene, and most divers find them equivalent to like a 2, maybe a 3 mil. It's really hard to gauge exactly how warm something is compared to a different suit because you can't wear them simultaneously. And you can never recreate well, it is really hard to recreate the exact conditions and then report on how warm or cold you are. It's really tough unless you're really like using thermometers and stuff to work out your core body temperature. But yeah, most divers after a dive, myself included, yeah, you wear these like thermocline, lava core, shark skin. Apex have their new thermic ceramic skin, I think they call it. And yeah, they're basically equivalent to like kind of a 3 mil, but maybe a little bit less. They're not quite as efficient as neoprene, but if you've got a neoprene allergy, then yeah, perfect. One of the best features about them is that they're neutrally buoyant, so you wear the same amount of lead as if you're just wearing a rash vest, which I love about them. It just makes your life so much easier working out how much lead that you need to bring down. One of the popular questions was, should I use Dettol to clean my dive gear? And I've actually seen quite a few other questions independent of this Ask Mark, which is yeah, what's best to like clean my dive equipment? How frequently should I do like a deep clean and whatnot? And it kind of varies, and it depends on like where you're diving, how well you look after the equipment and all that kind of stuff, and how you're storing it, if you're storing and cleaning it properly. As a general rule of thumb, if I'm at the start or the middle of like frequent diving, say I'm on a liverboard, then I give certain equipment a flush with fresh water, because usually at the back of liverboards you get a little hose with some fresh or at least desalinated water in that. I'll give my mask, my dive computer, the inside of my my second stage, my dive computer, maybe my BCD inflator. I'll give them a quick like flush with clean fresh water, but the rest of my equipment I'm not too fussed about. At the end of the trip, then I'll give everything a good like comprehensive flush out with just warm fresh water. But then when I get home afterwards, I'll give it all another soak in just soapy water, just household detergent. You can get like wetsuit shampoos. Oh, I can't talk today. I think it's because I went to the dentist this morning. Anyway, you can't. Yeah, you can just use regular. Like dish soap is pretty good for killing a lot of nasties. But yeah, the wetsuit shampoos, they will help to condition your wetsuit. BCD washes help to condition the sealing surfaces as well, which is quite nice. So yeah, if you can warrant it, it is nice to have a little extra conditioner thrown in. Otherwise, if you're really there just to prevent salt crystals and any like nasty microbes and stuff from growing inside of your equipment, yeah, just kind of dish soap. Give it a good wash, give it a scrub in the corners, because even after a soak, you take your regulators out, you leave them hanging up to dry, you'll still find little salt crystals forming in some of the corners. So I usually go around with an old toothbrush just to clean and scrub, just to get rid of any salts to prevent them from building up. And yeah, give it another flush with fresh water to get rid of the detergent, and then leave it to dry. Make sure it's dry on the inside and the out, because yeah, water, microbes, long-term storage, yeah, they just fester. Dettol is good, but it's not good if ingested. So I try to keep it away from anything that goes in your mouth. So that's your regulators, obviously, snorkel, your mask as well, your BCD inflator, because if you need to orally inflate, you press that purge button as you're about to blow into it, it just shoots a bit of Dettol into your mouth. That's not going to be a good day for you. Obviously, you can use it to do like a proper deep clean of your equipment. That'll probably do like maybe once a year before long-term storage. But dilute it a lot, obviously, and then give it a good wash to flush out any Dettol. So the Dettol's killed all of the nasties, and then yeah, you give it a flush out so it doesn't end up killing you or your taste buds. But yeah, I only do like a proper deep clean of my my regs and my BCD maybe once a year or whatnot. It's as long as you do that fresh water flush out like once a day after a day's diving, then yeah, you're pretty covered, unless you're diving somewhere particularly nasty. A lot of freshwater sites, I'll be sure to wash my gear properly with detergent and probably even Dettol after diving in some of the freshwater sites that I've been in. There was one I was doing a river cleanup, and there, of course, you're quite worried about like Weil's disease and all that stuff. So yeah, the Dettol comes out there. But if you're just at a popular dive site or you're diving in the ocean and it is pretty clear, then I wouldn't worry too much. Freshwater dish soap is your friend, and you don't need a lot to kill some of the nasties that can get in our equipment. But yeah, that's about it. It's been a relatively sedate week. I've been trying to keep up with the weather because I took my son to swimming lessons, and the rain was just heaving it down. So like, okay, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to throw my my raincoat on, put that on, got in the car, driving to the swimming pool. The heavens just opened and it was brilliant sunshine. So like, oh, okay, I feel a bit stupid wearing my waterproofs now. Let me get my sunglasses out. It's just that like spring showers, but we're in what, July now, so who knows? It's hard to keep track of the weather these days. But at least it's cool, because I think it's devilishly warm in Europe and Italy in particular at the moment. They're struggling with the heat at the moment. But anyway, I am rambling. That's about it as far as scuba diving. I had a good look at a few other all the different manufacturers and the retailers. I couldn't see anything overly interesting as far as new or special offers. It's still that main one from about Scubapro, but yeah, that's about it. Thank you for listening, everybody. Remember to head over to our website, scubadivermag.com. Check out our magazine, check out the news articles. Of course, check out our YouTube if you haven't already, unless you're listening to this on YouTube. Subscribe there as well if you haven't already. Thank you for listening, everybody, and of course, safe diving. The Scuba Diver Magazine podcast is sponsored by Scubapro. For more information, head over to scubapro.johnsonoutdoors.com and find out more about their amazing scuba diving range.